All right, everybody, we are back for the final stage of our paper mache project. And for this, we are going to be applying the color of your sculpture with Mod Podge and tissue paper. So, quick reminder, if you are making a fish, you will be using orange. If you are making a rose, you will be using red. If you are making a leaf, you'll be using blue. If you are making a squirrel, it'll be black. If you are making a cat, it will be radioactive green. All right, so I have my fish here in my orange tissue paper. I've gone ahead and torn this up, but you might have to take a full sheet of your tissue paper and tear it up into pieces that are similar in size to your paper mache pieces. So again, we're making all of our pieces no bigger than the palm of our hand. So about this size or smaller would be the best. You might need a variety of pieces, different shaped pieces to help you get around all of the little nooks and crannies of your sculpture. All right, that should give me plenty to start with. And you're gonna need to make sure that you're using the Mod Podge for this. One shortcut is if you are actually in the middle of paper macheing, and let's say you just finished paper macheing and you have time to start Mod Podge, your last layer of paper mache can act as your first layer of Mod Podge. So you can take that shortcut if you wish. My sculpture is completely dry, so I'm going to need to start with a layer of Mod Podge. So I'm going to work in one little space at a time. So I'll probably start over here just on the side of his body. And I'm going to brush on a liberal amount of Mod Podge. Now the Mod Podge is white. However, when it dries clear. All right, so I brushed it on. I stuck my tissue paper on, and now I'm going to seal it with, again, another coat of Mod Podge. And just like with paper mache, I'm going to layer my pieces. So I'm going to brush a little bit more Mod Podge on the body here and seal it. So you brush on the Mod Podge, and then stick on the tissue paper, and then brush on more Mod Podge. That's it. Okay, a couple things I want to talk about. When you are using the tissue paper, you want to be really careful to not overwork that second layer of Mod Podge. So once you have brushed on the Mod Podge enough that your tissue paper is sticking to your sculpture and all the edges are down, you just need to move on to the next piece. If you brush over the same piece of tissue paper over and over and over again, you'll notice that it starts to kind of wear apart, and we don't want that. It's really important that you are probably taking the most time with this step than you did the other steps, because this is like the presentation step. Presentation is everything. You can take a so-so sculpture and make it look really great if you do a really great job with the tissue paper at this stage. But likewise, you can take a really great sculpture and then slop through this tissue paper stage, and it will look like a mess in the end, because this is the last part. I know when you get to the end of a project, it's often the time when you're like, ugh, I'm done, I want to move on. And so it's kind of in our nature to want to speed this part up. But I highly encourage you to slow down most of all for this step and really take your time. And if you think you finish in one day, come back, really scrutinize it the next day and look at it and make sure that it is your best work, because you can always tissue paper even more on top of the dry Mod Podge. So a couple of notes about cleaning up while I'm working on this rose here. You need to make sure that these paint brushes that have the glue on them, the Mod Podge, that they get put in the dirty paintbrush buckets upside down with their bristles in the water, because if you wait too long and the glue dries, our brushes will be ruined forever. All right, well, I'm going to keep working on my rose here. I did finish my goldfish. If you happen to complete your entire sculpture, or at least you have wet parts on both sides, remember you can use the plastic cups to raise your sculpture off of the shelf, so that way it doesn't stick to the shelf. If you only had half of your sculpture complete, then you may support your sculpture on the dried side. That will be okay for overnight. Okay, well, when these are all complete, Miss Brown and I will be putting displays of them together in the IMC and the office in the 3 display cases that are by the office and the art rooms. Please make sure that you're following directions about how we want you to label these. These will probably be up for a while, and so one of the things that'll be important on your label is that you let us know who your advisory teacher is, so we can get these sculptures back to you in case you're not in art class anymore. But thanks so much for paying attention, and I hope you guys enjoy your papier-mâché sculptures.